What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the upcoming Air Jordan 1 Homage to Home. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet and want to see more content just like this. Also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. But with all that out of the way, let's get into it. First off, I want to give a huge thank you to Moolah NYC for helping me pick up this pair a little bit early. Before I switched studios, I was like 3 blocks away from Moolah in Queens. They have a really great selection. They got a lot of stuff early. They're definitely worth checking out. I'll make sure to leave a link to their Instagram in the description below. All-Star Weekend of 1985 was the first time that Michael Jordan wore both the Bred ones and the Chicago ones on the same floor. So to celebrate that event, Jordan Brand decided to release an Air Jordan 1 that featured both colorways in the same shoe. We've had other colorways of the Air Jordan 1s in the past that have multiple colorways on one sneaker, like the top 3 ones, but we've never had a wide public release of an Air Jordan 1 split right down the middle. The Homage to Home Air Jordan 1 takes both of these iconic colorways and mashes them together into one sneaker. This colorway definitely has a lot of people split. I suck. And it was originally released in extremely limited quantities on April 21st only in Chicago. Now we are getting a wider upcoming release on May 19th, which is the pair that I have here today. However, this pair does differ slightly from the 2,300 pairs that were released in Chicago because it isn't numbered and it doesn't have text on the heel. But other than that, the shoe is pretty much identical. So without further ado, here it is, the Air Jordan 1 Homage to Home. Right off the bat, you can tell that this is a mashup of the 2 most iconic Air Jordan 1 colorways of all time. First thing you'll notice when you get the shoe in hand is that it doesn't actually have that same sort of glue smell that you're used to with Air Jordan 1s. I'm not totally sure why that is. My only guess is that maybe this colorway relies a little bit more on stitching than it does on glue like most Air Jordan 1s, so you don't get that strong glue aroma when you first open the box. That's just a guess. Maybe they're using less scented glue than they usually are. I'm not sure. Jumping into the toe of the sneaker, unlike your regular Air Jordan 1s, you've got 4 different leather panels. Around the tip of the toe on the lateral side, you've got this slightly tumbled black leather with black stitching, whereas on the medial side, you've got your red semi-tumbled leather with red stitching. I'm glad they stuck with the original stitching color on each colorway's respective side. I think that makes it look a lot more interesting. If it had been black stitching all the way around or red stitching all the way around, I think it would have looked a little bit off, and yes, it probably would have been easier to do it that way, but I really like the way they ended up doing it. Just above these outer layers of leather, you've got 2 more panels, a red panel on the Bred side and a white panel on the Chicago side. I think my favorite part about this shoe is the attention to detail. Rather than just taking the easy way out and painting one side red or painting one side white, they actually stitched together 2 completely different pieces of leather. And because of that, you've actually got this seam that runs down the center. And I've got to be honest, when I saw pictures online, I didn't think I was going to like that seam, but seeing it up close, it's really well done. You can't see any of the stitching underneath. I think they did a great job. I've heard a lot of people call this the Harley Quinn sneaker, and you can definitely get that vibe from the toe box in particular. I see where they're coming from. I don't totally agree, but I definitely get it. Another thing I've heard a lot online is that the leather quality on this shoe is really nice. And I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty decent, but it's not incredible. I will say this, it definitely has a very heavily tumbled texture, which a lot of people like. And to be fair, the leather does look nicer than a lot of recent releases, but it's just not as soft as something like the Shadow ones. Continuing up on the sneaker, the shoe comes laced with black laces. It also comes with red laces if you want to switch them out, but let's be honest, it's already a crazy enough looking shoe. I don't think it's necessary. Just below the laces, you've also got a split tongue, and just like the toe box of the sneaker, the tongue is also made up of 2 separate pieces that are sewn down the middle. Obviously, on the Bred side, you've got a black tongue, and on the Chicago side, you've got a white tongue. Another nice part of the shoe that shows Jordan Brand's attention to detail is the split tag on the top of the tongue. One thing I noticed on this sneaker that I really didn't expect is that the tongue is actually a lot taller than most other tongues on Air Jordan 1 highs, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. I don't know if there's some historical significance, maybe tongues were taller in the past. I'm not mad at it, but it's definitely different. Inside the sneaker, you've got another material difference between this pair and your regular Air Jordan 1s, and that difference is actually the material that the sock liner is made of. Most Air Jordan 1s come with a mesh sock liner, however this time around they're not using mesh, they're using more of like a really soft fabric. It actually feels really nice to the touch. I've got to be honest, when I was actually wearing the shoe, I didn't notice it at all, but when I was putting the shoe on, it felt great. The insole of the sneaker also comes in black with Nike Air printed on the heel in white. As for fit, the Air Jordan 1 Homage to Home did seem to fit me true to size. Even though the construction is slightly different, the sizing didn't seem to change, which is a good thing. However, everyone's feet are different, so sizing might vary from person to person, so if you have a chance to try the shoe on first before you buy it, make sure to do that to make sure the sizing is right for you. If you don't, just go with your regular Air Jordan 1 size. Continuing back on the shoe, on the lateral side, you've got your bread colorway. Unlike the 2016 bread ones, all the black leather panels are actually noticeably tumbled. The red leather panels, however, seem just like the regular bread ones. As we've come to expect from the Air Jordan 1s, we've got a black gloss wings logo on the lateral side. Moving around to the medial side, the colorway changes almost completely. As you can tell, the medial side, or the inside of both sneakers in the pair, is the Chicago colorway. So if you see someone in the Homage to Homes with their feet together from a distance, you might just think it's a bread one because you just don't really see the Chicago colorway unless you're looking at the front of the shoe or see the inside of their foot. I've got to be honest, I would have liked it if one side of the shoe had the bread on the outside and the other shoe had the Chicago on the outside, but it is what it is. The leather on the red panels and white panels on the Chicago side of the shoe is also heavily tumbled. The Chicago ones that released back in 2015 weren't really tumbled at all, so it's kind of nice to see a heavily tumbled Chicago one. Same thing goes for parts of the shoe that aren't normally tumbled. Even this black leather area around the ankle is heavily tumbled. Finally, moving around to the heel of the sneaker, the only thing that would tell you that this is an Homage to Home one is the fact that there's a white panel here and a black panel here, and also the seam running down the center of the heel. Not totally sure why the seam was necessary on the back of the shoe because all the panels that have seams are the exact same color. And I noticed on the right side of my pair, the seam isn't actually totally straight all the way up, which really kind of bugs me out a little bit, but I guess it is what it is. The left side though, looks great. Moving down the shoe, you get to the part of the sneaker that stays consistent on both colorways, the white midsole and the red outsole. The red on the Homage to Homes is definitely a brighter shade than both the Chicagos and the breads. I'm not sure exactly why they made it this bright. I guess it does match the leather. Is the leather on this brighter than the regular Chicagos? Yeah, it is. Overall, the Homage to Home ones, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna do it again, really has me split. And the reason I say that is because when you look at the shoe in hand, it's incredible. I love everything about it. I love the leather quality. I like the stitching details. I think overall, it's a really nice looking shoe. However, as you'll see in a second, I think on feet, it just doesn't look as good. There's something about the split look to the shoe and how the darker colors are on the outside and the lighter colors are on the inside. There's just something weird about it and something off. I don't think it looks bad. I just don't think it looks as clean as if you were to wear a bread one on one side and a Chicago one on the other side. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. There's just something about it that I think looks better when it's up on a shelf than when it's on your feet. If you're looking to grab a pair of the Homage to Home ones, they drop on May 19th for 160 bucks. Now that we've got the review out of the way, let's put these guys on feet and see how they look. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Air Jordan 1 Homage to Home, so make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.